Shrim Devye Saraswate Namaha. Namaste and welcome.
Namaste. Nice to be here with you.
My name is Sarah Singh. This is Amar Singh, my husband, and we're here hosting our podcast, Artist Shakti Talks, with our special guest, Gordon Brown, an international car designer who went through awakening through Shaktipat in India. And why don't we just start today, Gordon, if you want to just share a brief background of your history and life.
Yeah. So it sounds good, international car designer. I've got to tell you, I'm really not very special. I'm just like you, just like anybody else. I just happen to be in the same right place at the right time. Like I was born in a ghetto. My dad was an alcoholic. He worked hard, but with 7 kids, it was hard for him.
Wow.
And so in my what do you call it, a project? In my project, you had to look after yourself. So we used to learn how to box, uh, how to how to be streetwise. Otherwise, you were going to go down quick. But I was dyslexic. I didn't know that until I was 57. I just thought I was a bit thick, for all my life. And it was only until I was 57, the university said, "Oh, could I just send someone? You look a bit, sound a bit dyslexic. Could I just send someone to have a look at you and assess you?" I said, "Yeah, yeah." And then, okay. So that's why I'm a car designer, because I got really good spatial awareness, and I can't read and I can't write very well. So it just happened to be, you know, what I was born with. Make the best of what you got.
Mm.
But in saying that, so okay, yeah, I've been working around the world, in Paris, Detroit, Germany, Sweden, Africa, India, Iran. All these places, I've had numerous adventures. I think I've become stronger because of them. Had a head-on collision in Tehran, which sort of left me with PTSD. So I have complex PTSD. I was in that earthquake in India. 20,000 people were killed. That was a bit awful. Yeah, I've been mugged in Paris. Yeah,
So there's a
yeah.
lot of trauma.
I've had a lot of trauma,
Yeah.
but that's what we come into the world for, to have this shit taken away once and for all. And I can remember I went to see my guru in India, and I was really I just retired. I retired, and the next Monday I went to India, and I was it's like on a pilgrimage from where he was born to where he died, and I was really really ill. I was really ill, and I thought, Gordon, don't complain about this. You do pilgrimage to get rid of your karma, and when it's actually happening, you complain about it. Come on, this is what you're here for. Just suck it up. Just okay, bring it on. Just bring it on. I can do this. That's what I'm here for. Get rid of this shit.
Mm.
So yeah. So I've had a lot of adventures.
So something that it brings up for me, which I certainly can relate to, and many others that I have connected with as well, who are on the spiritual journey, is sort of when we're on this path, how our karmas are worked out at a very rapid rate, and
Yeah.
so our suffering is quite exponential. And not only that, but all of these like negative past karmas, they go so quickly, and it can be incredibly overwhelming. And that's
Mm.
that's I believe why so many people who are on the the spiritual path, how they see all these crazy things happen in their life so quickly. Um,
Yeah.
and it's almost even hard to believe. And I know you wrote a book about it. Um,
Mm.
could you share the name of the book, uh, and tell us a little bit about what you wrote about? It's a autobiography, is that correct?
It's on only on available in Kindle, Amazon Kindle in
Hmm.
UK. But if people were interested, I'm not here to make money. I just want people to progress. So
Yeah.
if anybody wanted it, I would just send the online copy to them. Just contact me afterwards.
Okay, awesome. So, have you in your life through a lot of the trials and tribulations and like growing up at an early age, did you feel a draw towards spirituality? What was your like upbringing around God, or were you brought up by any religion?
Um, so I got to say, we're moving into a higher frequency. So
Hmm.
things are happening very fast now, and people like us, people who understand the process of life, we have to be steadfast. We have to be leaders, and we got to explain what's happening. Um, but I never, when I was a kid, I never was into religion,
Hmm.
except I had a very good voice. And when I was about 9 or 10, I got selected in a competition to go and sing in Queen's College Choir,
Wow.
Oxford. And I used to really enjoy the Shakti inside the cathedral. It's really nice. And so we used to go 2 times in the week and 2 times at the weekend. And then I almost got knocked over by somebody on a motorbike. And somebody told my mum, and my mum said, "You can't go anymore. You're too young. You can't go on downtown by yourself." And so I started going to a local church, and I could feel the energy, inside the church. I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand. I just thought it's nice.
Hmm.
I'm quite a
So,
disciplined person. If you are on this path, you have to be disciplined. I was quite a kind person, compassionate by nature. We didn't have any money, when I first went uh, freelance, I had no money, and I lived in a caravan near Ford's in London. Um, and it was I couldn't afford to go out to the pub. We didn't have any money when we first got married, and I just used to sort of sit there in the sunshine after work, just sort of listening to the birds, just sort of going inside. It
hmm.
was. I thought, oh, this is like meditation. And that's how it started, just sitting there watching the wildlife, listening to the birds.
Wow. It
Mm.
sounded like there was a natural inclination to being meditative for you early on.
I've been meditating since 1982,
Wow.
and so I started to do my meditation. I had my own mantra. I didn't know anything about mantras. The only sort of Indian word I knew was curry and karma, and so I used I used karma as my mantra. And so I sat there doing karma, karma. And of course,
Oh my
it,
God.
it didn't work. It didn't work. And then I thought, well, the Beatles have got a guru. And I wonder if he'd give me a mantra. So I went to see him and he gave me a mantra. And then it took off because I didn't quite appreciate that you have to have some energy bestowed into the mantra.
Mm.
There's a live mantra and a dead mantra. And if you use a live mantra, it works, and it worked immediately. And I used that mantra for 8 years. So like twice a day, 20 minutes a day, come hell or come shine. Yeah. So I had a really good start.
Mm.
Me and George Harrison, we, we were there with our mantras.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about how your awakening started, and if you want to, following that, go into your Kundalini experience as well.
Yeah. So I said I had this mantra, and that really worked for me. Um, so I was in Sweden
Mm,
for Volvo, and my friend, I was reading a book, and it said had uh, Maharishi Yogi's picture, and I was reading, and my friend, do you fancy a job in India? I said, come on, they don't design cars in India. They just have old ones, you know. And he said, no, do you want one? I said, yeah, I got it. So I got in 2 weeks later, I was working in Tata in Pune, and uh, and hundreds of guys, really nice place. People had no shoes on because it was so hot with the marble floors. That was different. And this guy comes up to me and said, do you do meditation? I said, yeah, I do. He said, would you like to come and see my teacher? She's just coming back from upstate New York and she's going to be here for a few weeks. And I said, yeah, like we were working 6 days a week and we got one day off. I think it was Thursday. And we were working 12 hours a day, an hour there, an hour back to the hotel. And so we was going to go overnight, Wednesday to Thursday, be there for a few hours in the jungle north of Mumbai, and then go back again. And so I went with my friends in the back of this truck, and we arrived at 5:30 in the morning, and they were all singing Guru Gita, this amazing 1.5 hour mantra. Hundreds of people in this ashram, beautiful place. And I just sat there and I thought, I don't understand a word they're saying, but oh my God, it's so wonderful. It's so beautiful, you know? So when we go back to Pune, and my friend said, do you want to come and attend a satsang? I said, what's a satsang? He said, just come with me on the back of my bike, and we ride through the town and cows and blinking in pollution cars. You know what's like, Emma. It's dangerous. And so we go to this satsang, and there were like hundreds of people all sat around, and and they were kind enough to give me a seat. And they had this guy who was the translator,
mm.
and we were chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And I started getting really hot, you know. And these people in front of me were doing all these weird things, like they were doing this yoga moves, they were crying, they were singing, they were happy. And then the guy in front of me, like a Japanese guy, he was like vibrating, he was vibrating for a whole hour. I thought, how could that possibly be? You know, I can't do that for a minute. And there's all this stuff going down, and I thought, this is strange. This is very profound. I must. And then I start crying, and I start crying, and I just sort of like, ah, everyone was my brother, everyone was my sister. I was sweating. Oh my God, I was sweating, and I couldn't stop crying for until lunchtime. And then Gigi said, "Come on, let's go outside and have some fresh air." Uh, so, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind just reading you a little bit about my Kundalini experience. Um, it would just take a couple of minutes. because I'm not very good at this, recording stuff. I'm better at thinking and writing it down. So it says here. So in my book it says the first week at the new Indian job, a colleague asked me if I wanted to go with some of the devotees to a meeting, a satsang in town. So after work, I got onto the back of the scooter and headed dangerously through the turmoil of stinking buses, rickshaws, and cows. The hall was filled to capacity, men on the right and ladies on the left. Fortunately, they were kind enough to give me a chair to sit on and a translator. Another friend, a jobber called Speedy, we call ourselves jobbers, freelance car designers, we call ourselves jobbers. So
Mm.
Speedy attended as well, but that's a whole new story. At the front of the hall, there was a large photograph of my teacher,
Oh.
Gurumai Chidvalasananda. And it was surrounded by flowers, and people started to chant, accompanied by a drone that I come to know was a tambura. And the words were mesmeric. Om Namah Shivaya. It's this beautiful tune. Salutations to the divine. The singers started to sway. The chant continued. Some people started to cry. Others, most curiously, began to thrash around with their arms and their bodies. Right in front of me, this Japanese guy who just said was vibrating. He was shaking so intensely and went on for so long, I couldn't comprehend how it could possibly be. It was then I realized something profound was happening and I should give it my full attention. So, give it my full attention meant that before I woke up to work, I needed to research what was happening.
Mm.
And I realized that I read that this is classic shaktipat. This was awakening of my spiritual energy, and I had to know everything. I had to read everything. I had to know everything. I couldn't wait till I come home from work and went to bed. My teacher, I used to go and see my teacher again, and I used to always cry. And my friend said to her one day, he's always crying. What's the matter with him? Uh,
Oh.
he's very weak spiritually. What should he do? He should get up in the middle of the night and do meditation. And I think I just lost like 16 kilos in weight with dysentery. And I'm working 12 hours a day. And she wants me to get up in the middle of the night and sit there. So I thought, okay, okay, I'll try it. I'll try it. I won't last very long. But I used to set a clock, but very quick, I didn't need a clock. I was so enthusiastic to sit on my asana again and again and again because it was like an adventure. And I did this for 1.5 years because I was away from home. I could do whatever I liked, you know.
Mm.
So I did it for 1.5 years, and uh, and it changed my whole life.
So I want to come back to the tears part.
Yeah,
So when you kept crying, so did the sort of crying spells first begin when you received Shaktipat?
you know, it's not like Shaktipat is not um, it's not a sort of like a 5 minute job. You have
Mm.
to work. You have to have like a bird have two wings, one with your effort and the other one with grace. And only then, if you're lucky to meet a good teacher and you're ready, then Kundalini awakens within you. Most people, you really need a teacher, but I know you don't like that, Sarah. I read that you don't really need a teacher, but if I said to you, here's an address in New York, I
Hmm.
want you to go and find it, Sarah. Well, you could do it. Yeah, you could definitely do it. But if I said to you, just take a taxi, it's so much easier, you know, because because in the footsteps of great people, we can learn by their experiences, and
Yes.
we can follow their teachings and make life so much easier, And as instead of like who was that? Was it Blake who got spontaneous Kundalini awakening and thought he was going mad? If you get this Kundalini awakening, it's very, very physical. It's
Mm.
very physical.
Mm.
I could feel my 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 chakras being cleaned individually, as it was happening. And if you didn't have some previous knowledge about this, it could be very disruptive in your life and in your family. You
Yes.
think
Yes.
you're going mad because it's very physical.
Yes.
It is also, as rightly you said, it requires kind of a blessing and efforts and
Mm,
grace, but it is also the accumulation of our past karmas of the past birth which
mm,
has been led to this particular path and
mm.
experience the awakening of real Kundalini energy. as
Yeah.
as as you see as your own life path from the childhood. You were drawn towards church, singing towards it. You could feel the energy, the
Mm,
positivity inside the church, and then uh, you came to India for a job, and then you accidentally or by choice or by the planning of the universe, you landed up to the guru, and you have attained that stage and got that understanding more depth about your own self
mm,
and your Shakti and your Kundalini awakening. This all drama which has happened around you was always already planned by the universe, and second
mm.
was your always also the karma of previous birth which has led you towards
Yeah.
much more closeness towards God.
I totally okay with that. What's happened after sort of 45 years of meditation,
Mhm.
um, my past lives have disappeared. I've cleaned them all out, and um, I've had numerous attempts at looking, and what happens is all I see is this blue energy, this blue energy.
Mm.
Could I just tell you about a very special experience I had? Um,
Please. Yeah.
because my teacher was in Spain, and that guy Speedy, who was with me in my first introduction, I said to him, "Look, Speedy, Guruma is going to be in Spain. Do you want to come with me to see her?" And he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Gord, but I got a new job. I'm going to be busy. I can't do it. I'd love to go, but uh, so what city are you going to be in? Sitges in Spain. She's going to be in Sitges. In fact, she's on the same road as where you're living. She is down the end of your road in the hotel. We're all going to be there." So, of course he came. Of course he came. And uh, so what happened was, there's an enormous hall, hundreds of people, thousands of people. In fact, I was in my hotel in bed, and this guy just walked into my room, this Chinese guy, and he said, "Oh, we've got to bunk in together because there's so many of us, and I'm going to be with you for the next 2 weeks." Oh shit, okay. And he wasn't straight, uh, but we got on really well. He's a really nice guy, um, and I'm glad I met him. So what happened was that uh, Guru Mai came into the hall, and she said, "Oh, we're going to do some meditation." Okay, I can do this. I can do this meditation. And then, so I sort of just closed my eyes, and she's in the stage over there. And I closed my eyes. And then this guy inside of my inner vision, walks this guy with no clothes on. And now I'm just sat there in my chair, and he sort of comes along, and this guy called Baba Nityananda,
Sure.
who is one of the founders of the path that I'm on. And so I'm sat there, and he walks up to me, and like there is like this communication, but not with words, just this knowing.
Mm.
No, I knew who it was. He just stood up in front of my chair, and he sat down into my chair, and I became him, and he became me. It was profoundly silent. It was profoundly deep, you know? There was no questions. There was no answers. There was no ifs or buts. It was just profoundly silent. And like over there in the back of my mind, 5% of me was saying, you know, this is a waste of time. You know, you should scratch your nose, go to the toilet, you know. But 95% of me was Nityananda. And
Mm.
and he was like the chair in front of me, and he was like the air in between me, this blue energy. He was me, I was this blue, and everything was like this blue energy. Everything was just,
Mm.
everything was profoundly blue and silent, you know. And then he stood up and turned around, and without words, he said to me, "You are my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased." And then he walked away, and the next 30 years I get to contemplate, what on earth did that happen? What did that mean? Oh my God, you know, what a blessing to have the direct darshan of a saint. How lucky I am, you know.
Mm. Wow. That's
Yes, what I have also learned in few scriptures and books is that, you know, once we attain certain level in meditation after awakening some chakras of us, a portal which opens up in which the awakened gurus and teachers comes and visit us. They guide us, they show us the path. Okay, now this is the direction which you have to go ahead. This is what it is. So this
Mm.
might have happened with you,
mm.
which I understand.
You were eligible for gurus, which is rare for people.
Yeah, when I was with the Beatles guru, Maharishi Yogi, he gave me this mantra,
Mm.
and I didn't want to be like a butterfly and going from one flower to another. So when I met Guru Mai, she gave me another mantra, and I was really reluctant not to to use her mantra. I had to stay on this, because be disciplined, Gordon. And
Mm.
then I went to see this holy man, and he said, "Look, just go to this ashram, and it'll all become clear. Don't worry about it." So I go to this place, and there on the wall was this big picture of my old teacher embracing my new teacher. And I thought to myself, Gordon, they are like one. And you are just sort of making a
Wow.
big thing of it. So just look, just be passed over, you know, because that's what they do. Gurus pass you over because they finish with you. They don't want you, it's you want them. They don't need you, you need them.
Mm.
They sort of passed you over, you know. Uh, I went to see this guy called Thich Nhat Hanh. Have you ever heard of? He's a Buddhist. He's like number two in Buddhism. He's just died. He lived in the south of France, and he was an exile from Vietnam during the Vietnamese War.
Mhm.
Really, really nice guy. You'd like him, Thich Nhat Hanh. He's written loads of books. And I lived in with him he was the guy who named mindfulness. He taught me personally how to do mindfulness. And very humble guy. He must have been very wealthy, but he never ever. He lived in a shed in the back of the field. He was a really nice guy. And I was just sat there listening to him. And again, I just cried. I was crying. I was overcome with love. Like a child overcome, you can't sort of reason, understand it. And it's just like it was pouring out of me, pouring out of me. And the guy next to me was feeding with me Kleenex, It was just like too much love,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you get a guru. Yeah, you can get gurus. We're all gurus, but you can get sad gurus. There's levels of gurus, and if
Mm,
you're lucky to have the attention of a sad guru, they will. If you're lucky, you're very lucky. They
mhm,
will give you the grace of ah, their state of being
mm,
for a very short time. And
mm,
you don't want to come back. You just want to stay there because this is like
yeah.
there's nothing better than just being profoundly silent in that love. It makes me cry just thinking about it again. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanna briefly share because I know you mentioned there was a post I made about not needing a guru, and that um so a lot of these like profound experiences, and part of why I wanted to ask like the tears, like where they come from, that profuse crying, it's a very beautiful experience that comes when we have like a really profound feeling or touching of God.
Yeah.
Just those tears of joy, of love, and then like that, like sort of not wanting to go back to like the
Yeah.
normal world and wanting to just stay there.
Mm.
I've had experiences like that with Mahavatar Babaji,
Ah.
just seeing him from like my mind's eye and just experiencing his presence. I remember it happened once when I was working at a yoga studio, and then I just had this really deep longing and sense in my heart is like I need to leave my worldly life and I need to just be with you. And and I just felt like I needed to figure out so strongly how to get out of of the worldly demands that were keeping me from experiencing that God. But then
Mm.
I was forced to learn integration because my karma and demands, they were still requires me to
Mm.
work a lot in daily life and still be a
Mm.
part of society and serve in that
Yeah,
way.
absolutely.
So I think that my takeaway, so for my awakening, it was at first it was very lost and helpless, and then I learned the practices from India, and then I managed to, through the practices and enough clearing, experience inward divine guidance
Mm.
through
Mm.
Kali, and I believe through Babaji too. So I believe that it depends on the karma for different people what the divine guidance will look like, whether it's in physical form. I believe physical form is a very big blessing. It's not one that I've been blessed with in my life. But then
Mm.
there's also sort of the transient forms that we're guided, um, whether it be a specific deity or a saint that visits us. Many people I've heard they have experiences with visions of Christ as well.
Mm. Yeah.
These things can guide us too. So just for anyone out there listening and longing for a physical guru, it's the guidance is possible and there with you, even if it's not in a physical form yet.
You just we call ourselves seekers, seekers of the
Yeah.
truth. And you just carry on seeking, and the guru will find you.
Yeah.
That's all you need to do. You haven't got to go guru shopping in
Guru shopping. Guru shopping. I loved what you said about the butterfly. You're like, I don't want to be like a butterfly going from one flower to another.
Well, you can find gurus where you are,
Yeah.
They don't have a badge saying I'm a guru. You just you just look around
If
and
they do, you should be skeptical.
yeah. But the very best gurus, they would only ever point you inside yourself. Don't look at me. Go inside here. That's
Mm,
where the true guru, this is where your rights are.
mm.
Inside is the true guru. But some people need help to get to look inside,
Yes.
the cave of the heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very true.
So
We
is
also like believe in same fundamentals to look inside. There's a real guru lies. That's
Mm,
the that's from where we actually get a real guidance.
mm,
And the guidebook, which what are the do's and don'ts was there, has been already mentioned in the scripture. Just put up the pages, you will understand and see
mm,
and look and experience. Do that stuff, whatever is mentioned. If we convert our life the way it is mentioned in the scriptures, the way it is, then automatically some changes happens in our body, and automatically we try to go deep, 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 and
mm.
in the end we meet our own light. And then the guru who always, as the more we meditate, we more we lose ourselves and just stay in one a particular focal point. That's where the real blissfulness and all happiness and all everything resides.
You know, people think what's that film called Eat, God, Love, something like that. That if you go to an ashram, it's going to be great, very tranquil. Everything's going to be fantastic, and God's going to come down and change your whole life. It's not at all like that in ashrams. Ashrams are really hard places to be because all the time your ego is being all the time, and people have arguments and things go wrong, and but you go there to get rid of your ego. And when it does, guess what? It hurts. It's
Mm,
like to pass your fire. It's burning up your your karma. And
mm.
so, you don't have to go to an ashram. You just live with your family. God, your family, they're really going to burn up your ego. You you go home, you go home for Christmas and see just how holy you are.
Yes. Yes, so being in this life, being in the what we call sansar, I mean like the family life or whatever, we can still be a yogi by doing all the karmas what we have assigned to whatever duties which we have given, and still follow this path and still go to the much more closer and closer to the God. The more
Yeah,
we
because
go to,
this place is called Karma Bhumi, the world of
Mm.
karma.
Yes,
And
yes,
if you had got rid of all your karmas, you wouldn't be here.
exactly.
You'd have gone to Trantaloka or something, some other world. But you haven't got rid of your shit yet. You still got a lot to work on. So that's why you're here. And
Mm.
that's why people are getting in front of you in the car and for God's sake, get out the way.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
But the good thing about it is, you know, since I've been on this path, I was given Guru's grace. You
Mm,
know, how lucky was I to get Guru's grace? I even called my house Grace Cottage. I just built this house. I called it Grace Cottage. Um, I understand the process of life now so much better. I think people have these interactions around me, and I think to myself, yeah, but that's because of this. That's because of this. It's just the way life is. And I hardly think now. I go around like 80% of the day just being. There's not this like this chattering monkey in my brain. Um, it's a very silent place. Uh, I got more friends. I got more money. I never asked for it, but Guru's grace has just Hey, we like you. Have a bit more. Have this. Have the respect of all the people around you. Have good health. Synchronicity. You know, when I'm going to the car park, and guess what? Someone's just moving out the way, and okay, thank you. Synchronicity.
Yes.
It just happens because Mother Nature is so pleased with you. It's so much easier. Life is so much easier with Guru's grace.
Mm, I know exactly what you mean. That regular connection with with God, with the divine, and how when we make that conscious effort and it becomes closer and closer, suddenly just everything aligns. And I remember the synchronicity thing when that first started happening to me. I felt really freaked out.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? Am I going insane? No, this is real. Like I would just see like recurring
Mm,
like numbers on license plates, recurring names, all these different things from my past when it was manifesting or happening to me in the extreme form when it first started. I didn't understand it at all, and it was more for working out different karmas and triggering different things to get them out of my system and relinquish them.
mm,
But it still happens till this day, and
mm.
it's just shows like how attuned and how aligned we are with the sort of inner networkings of the
Yes.
universe.
Yeah, when I come back from living abroad after the awakening,
Mm,
I came back and like I understood why the adverts were like that. I understand what the headlinings in the rubbish newspapers. I understood like I understood sort of everything. You
mm,
know, the meaning behind everything. It was like someone's just sort of like it's like you're a cake and you got this slice. You were born with this slice, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit bigger slice. Your knowledge is and you never ever want to go back to the small one. You just want to, you just want that to progress.
mm,
See if you can get a bit more slice. Now, and I guess that's where these guys get this the upturned lotus, thousand thousand petaled lotus of knowledge.
mm.
Because, as you go through life, you understand more and life becomes easier. You know, like,
So what was the most difficult part for you through your process?
well, like I said, but like 8 years, I was too strict with myself.
Mm,
My son's having a concert in the orchestra, and I'm doing my meditation. Dad, listen. No, I got to do my meditation. I go, no, I, I, you go to work and you can't. There's nowhere to. It's every big busy office. So I go into the toilet, do my meditation. Blop, blop, smells, and you think, so, oh, fucking hell. But I was too strict with myself. 8 years, twice a day, never missed a day.
wow.
And then I realized it's just as bad to be too strict as it is not to be strict enough.
Mm,
Then I relaxed. I still do my meditation. I probably do my meditation 3 or 4 times a day now, but I don't beat myself up. Yeah.
mm,
If my kids said we're going to go do something, okay, let's go, let's do it. That's the most important thing in my life is my family.
mm. That's beautiful. What do you think created that initial the like treating meditation sort of in that way of being so rigid and strict? My initial thought to what that stems from, because I know that happened for me originally when I first started. Um, I think for me it was like a very deep sense of just wanting to just do everything right, and also a fear of sort of falling back to my old self because I felt very desperate to just get out of it. Like if I was falling ill or sick, I was still trying to do like cold showers 4 in the morning, like things like that.
Yeah, you have to be disciplined, to be honest. You have to be disciplined,
Mm,
but you also have to be compassionate, understanding. You have to be all these things at the same time. You can't
yeah.
just be, if you got to have a hole in the bucket releases all the water as much as tipping the bucket over, you know. So you only have to have one defect. We only have to have one thing. In my, I like to be in control of everything, you know. My kids tell me, my wife tell me, you just want to be in control, Dad. Which is true, and I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to not be in control, and try and leave my clothes on the side, not put it away, and don't have to go looking picking up things after someone. My wife don't even allow me in the kitchen because I keep putting things away, and I'm working on that, but perhaps next lifetime.
Mm. Oh, I love that.
Next lifetime.
Amar always says, he's like, no, I'm not coming back. This is my last one. And I was like, I don't know if that's possible, my friend.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible.
Yes.
I've met people who, I've met living saints. How amazing they are. They're not they're not they're not normal human beings.
Mm,
They are very, very, very special.
mm,
And you can feel it. You can feel it just being in their presence. So, but there's somebody in your area. People if you're listening to this, there's somebody in your area that you should get to know, because he or she is awakened, and you don't have to go very far. You don't have to go to Nepal or Tibet or in London. You can just find it in your area, somebody who's a little bit wiser than you, and just listen. Just listen to what he's saying, what she's saying,
mm.
and keep searching.
True.
That's very true. I wanted to ask, what does your sadhana look like now? I know you briefly touched on now you practice or meditate about 3 to 4 times a day. Like what form of meditation? Is it mantra meditation?
Yeah, I still use meditation. Of course I do. You need to keep your meditation going. It's
Mm,
very easy to fall off. It's like the path is like a long, sharp sword. It's very easy to fall off. So, I no longer need to be in the front row where my teacher is, because guess what? She's in the back row as well. You know, to be honest, I don't even need to see my teacher anymore because she's in my heart. You
mm,
know, I don't
mm,
need to read about her when I read her books. When I read her books, I can feel the Shakti just by looking at her picture, looking at her, reading her lines. I don't have to go anywhere now, which is quite good. My wife's really pleased. I can stay at home now instead of being in Africa or India or wherever. You know, so I don't need my teacher because my teacher's inside. Because people like you and me and lots of people around, we are like lights in the darkness. We are
mm,
shining our light in this darkness to try and get some sort of peace and love. Uh, when I was in Tehran, in Iran, just after the Iran-Iraq war, I felt that was exactly the reason I was there. It was very difficult for me to be in Iran at that time. Uh, yeah, I had, they would just follow me in the street. I had to write a sign, a paper saying I wouldn't talk to anyone for the next year. Look at that.
What?
Yeah,
Whoa.
they would come and search my apartment every every month and take away my music and my videos. But I felt the reason I was there was to shine a light on peace. So I just sucked it up. Okay.
Mm.
I just said, okay. The secret police took me in one day, and I just remembered, your teacher's just here. Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be okay. Just smile and be happy. Uh, Eventually, they realized I didn't have any dollars because dollars were illegal in Iran,
Wow.
and they just let me go. They phoned up the guards at my accommodation, and they said, "Oh, he's okay. Let him go. He's okay." So it's changed my whole life having a good teacher, being on the path. It's made me richer, more happy, more friends, a
Mm.
better dad, a better husband.
Mm.
Um, we should do yoga. We should do meditation in schools, you know,
Yes.
and then we would begin to change the world quicker.
Something that you just shared that really stood out with me. I know we're almost out of time, so we'll close soon. But just about how what sometimes when God puts us in very, very difficult positions and just very challenging situations and environments, it's because we're meant to be there in order to shed light and to improve the situation for those around us. And I think that
Yeah.
that's a really profound
Mm,
perspective for anyone who
mm,
may be someone on the spiritual path and be in a position in their life right now that's very
mm.
difficult. So I really appreciate you sharing that because that's always something for that's great and helpful to remember.
Treat people with great respect
Mm,
and smile and talk to people. The ladies walk in the opposite direction, just smile. It may be the only person who's going to sort of notice her during that day. And
mm,
you just smiled at her. It could have changed her whole day, you know? You share this Shakti out, because people can feel it.
mm. Do you have
Very true.
any closing statements before we end the talk?
Statements, that's like a politician. Oh my God.
Sorry.
No, I got no, I haven't got I haven't got a message. Uh, I'm just trying the best I can with myself, to be honest,
Mm,
That's all you can do. Um, when I was in Iran, 3 times a day, everyone would go and have say their prayers. And so I thought, well, I'm going to get out of work as well, and I'll go and do my meditation. So I go to the hall, beautiful thick carpet, and half of them are saying their prayers, Allah Akbar, and I'm sitting there doing my doing my meditation, and half of them are at the back of the hall going to sleep, you know. So all you can do, people then started saying to me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just doing my meditation." What's your meditation? What's this photograph you got? What does she say? What did she say? And I'm saying, look, they got video cameras in the office, and they're going to get me if I start talking about things. Come to my apartment and we talk about it. And of course, the guards just walked into my apartment. What's going on here? Yoga is illegal in Iran, and you know, you just have to like be yourself, love everybody, and do the best you can.
that's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Gordon. It was really such an honor and pleasure to speak with you, to hear more about your experience and to share your light. I really, really appreciate your
Yeah.
time and your story. It's so beautiful and profound. And I hope people reach out to you to get a copy of your book.
Just message me, and I'll send it on an email.
You can send us one at least. Do we have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay,
So
wow,
yeah.
amazing.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, we're going to close out with the chant of one Om, followed by 3 Shantis. Bring your hands together, heart center. Close your eyes down. And take a deep inhale.
Shanti,
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, sir.